Hi, Mike Benoit here, and I'm on a kind of Support Larken Rose's video about how ridiculous it is that there's a big scandal between the IRS and Tea Party groups, and how these Tea Party groups have been mistreated and they're not getting their um, taxpayer, what do you call it, nonprofit status. And the real shame here is that the income tax is probably the most insidious and hideous tax ever known to man. It's an enslavement tax, and a tax that actually does not exist and would be unconstitutional if did exist. And of course, everybody is led to believe that it does exist, even though you can't get the IRS to come out and tell you where this tax is imposed, what the section is, whether or not this is a direct tax or an indirect tax, etc. Direct taxes are on people and property. Indirect taxes are on activities. So direct taxes have to be apportioned still by the Constitution. Since this is an apportioned tax, then it must be an indirect tax. So what activity are they taxing? So the activity of engaging in your labor. And again, if your labor has a zero value, we consider all you get for it as income or gain. It's ridiculous. It's insidious. It's what's going to impoverish every American and probably every country in the world that operates on such a system. But it's an abomination. Okay, and so it's in itself, it's just a tyranny beyond compare. And so what are we doing? Well, poor Tea Party guys, they're being abused. They want a taxpayer exempt status. They want to be exempt from paying taxes. Oh, the rest of you, we don't care. I mean, all the individuals out there, let's treat them like everything they get is income and gain, and corporations, they're only taxed on what they actually gain after they paid all their expenses. But no, people, now we can't do that with people. We're going to take everything they get and just allow them some trivial things here and there. Can they deduct their rent? No. Or they can deduct their interest on their house payment. Big deal. Anyway, Larken Rose had the stormtroopers go into his house to serve some ridiculous warrant. Stormtroopers have taken my house, but through the judicial process, for allegedly owing taxes for 95, 96, of a total, including penalties and interest, of $144,000. Okay, so maybe I did own, maybe I didn't own. But how did they take this house? With due process? Did I get a trial by jury? No, absolutely not. It's done by a summary judgment process. Now, how many people are violated every year? Thousands, not thousands, no. Tens of thousands? No, not tens of thousands. Millions of people. There's millions of liens or notices of levy sent to people's bank accounts every year. They're sent to their employers, and boom, people just turn around, take this money, give it to the IRS or the government without any, as much as a due process hearing, trial by jury, et cetera, et cetera. Well, taking my house through the summary judgment process is quite a interesting phenomenon here. Summary judgment is a process where if there are no facts in dispute, then it's just a matter of the law that the case can be judged on. So with saying there's no facts in disputes, people get together and say, okay, let's have the judge decide the law. But with the IRS, I can dispute every single fact along the way, and they can march out a form that's given a presumption of being correct, and that somehow creates a scenario where there are no disputes of the facts. And so the judge might say, well, Mr. Benoit, he just disagrees with has a technical disagreement. He doesn't actually disagree on the facts. So they proceed to summary judgment, and government can use this form 4304, I believe is the number, that says, lists some things, and it's treated as gospel. But to save yourself from summary judgment, you've got to come up with something that disputes that form. So I did, in my case, come up with things that dispute the form. The form said that there were substitutes for returns that were entered on my behalf through the Secretary of the Treasury. Well, that didn't occur. There was no record of such. The IRS says we don't have them. They probably were destroyed, etc. So, and then I did something else that rebutted the presumption of correctness given to the form. A couple of the penalties they charged required negligence. And I have demonstrated every step of the way that I was not negligent and that I was in a legitimate dispute with the IRS over these taxes. But they applied these penalties anyways. And so I use these two things to say, hey, this form is incorrect. Let's have a trial by jury here and make sure that justice is occurring. Well, that didn't work. And in my summary judgment process, turns out the attorney for the United States wasn't an attorney for the United States. She was on inactive status. So she wasn't authorized to submit anything. And in the summary judgment process, the information or the evidence is supposed to be submitted by someone who has firsthand knowledge, not someone who is submitting the evidence on information and belief. Well, that person that was not licensed to practice in any court in the United States submitted this evidence on the basis of information and belief, not on the Rule 56 that requires it be submitted on firsthand knowledge. Okay, so we have those issues. And again, we had contradictory forms in the process that would dispute the quality of nature given to this Form 4340 as gospel presumptive proof of correctness of the IRS. Well, in this case also, the IRS or the federal district court was supposed to judge the merits of all claims. So they just rubber stamped the state's claim, even though I showed information that rebutted the state of California's claim. So, I'm just talking here about due process. Jury of 12, that's what the Constitution, the Bill of Rights is supposed to give us here. Well, in my case, yeah, I'm vacating the house. I'm not going to stand out in front of it with a gun and protect my home with 25 years that they can take arbitrarily and capriciously like this without due process, with just some criminal decision by a United States district judge. And I say criminal decision. After I went through my process and I learned out later on that there was the particular penalty that they charged in my case could not have possibly ever been charged in a case where somebody didn't file a tax return. And that's the case here. And when I got that information, I was too late to get it before the court. I tried to present it to the court through different avenues, and they made no adjudication on it because they know exactly the truth of the claim is that it turns their whole claim into being a fraudulent claim. So they're trying to collect more than is allowed by law, and that's a violation of law. But even though the judge has this knowledge, they move forward with it, and so here we go. The IRS is ending up stealing my home to give to somebody who, doesn't want to work, is too lazy to work. So this philosophy of theft, this philosophy of taking from somebody's property to whom it belongs and giving it to someone to whom it doesn't belong is the evil. And yet we poor Tea Party guys didn't get an exemption from this. So wake up, folks. An income tax, taking the fruits of someone's labor and redistributing those fruits to someone else is an abomination. It's an evil beyond evils. This is Mike Benoit. Thanks for listening.